So let's start with this. This topic is close to our hearts. We all gone through heartbreaks and difficult situations in life and learned from it, grown from it. Some of us are still struggling. Some of us still going through it. And that's what this is for, because it's a process. As long as we have a soft heart, it will get bruised, just like we have physical injuries and things like that. It happens, we get bruises, we get cuts. So similarly, our heart also gets bruised and cut. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But the fundamental need of every living being is to love and be loved. So we keep trying, we keep connecting, we keep loving. And sometimes we get loved back, sometimes we don't get loved back. Sometimes we get loved back for a while, and eventually that fizzles out and something else, something new happens. So according to our Vedic wisdom, there are 5 rasas, 5 different flavors of relationship. Starting with Madhurya rasa, which is, so as we go through 1 to 5, it's like most intimate and then lesser degrees of intimacy. So Madhurya rasa is conjugal love, love between a lover and a beloved, Krishna and Radha, or a husband and a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, etc. And then Vatsalya rasa, parental love, mother-child, father-child, etc. Sakhya rasa, that's friendly, friendship, so brotherly love, friendly love, people who are work colleagues, things like that. Then there is Dasya rasa, sense of servitude, so people we look forward to serving. So maybe boss-employee relationship, or sometimes it's Guru-Shishya relationship, the relationship that Hanuman had with Lord Ramachandra, right? So various ways where we have that sense of servitude towards the person. And there is a certain flavor of love that is there in that mood. And there's Shantarasa, which is passive, love in passive mode. So these are different rasas, and according to the intimacy, the stronger the intimacy, when it breaks, the harder it hurts, right? So when somebody who's Shantarasa, so let's say a Facebook friend, or somebody you just know, friend of a friend, it's okay. They go to some other country, or they die, or they stop talking to you, unfriend you, doesn't hurt much. People who are more friendly with us, our friends, and that in that something happens, we feel a little hurt. Parents, when we lose our parents and have difficulties with our parents, that's painful. And of course, Madhurya rasa and conjugal love in that couple relationship, it is the most painful when that breakup happens. So now, this is the fundamental of any loving relationship, right? This is the pillar on which the loving relationship stands. Love and trust, give and take, right? When there is love, there is trust. Because of trust, there is love, right? Unless there is trust, we cannot love someone. And there is give and take. There's exchange between the lover and the beloved, right? Somebody gives, somebody receives, and then somebody reciprocates and gives, and somebody else receives. So that way, there is constant exchange going on. When this gets broken, everything falls apart, right? And that's what happens when couples cheat on each other and whatnot. That's what happens. It breaks that love, and it just everything falls apart. The other part is where the relationship is dead. That the give and take stops happening, right? They stop being happy seeing each other. They stop investing in that relationship. Or in other cases, the person is actually dead. So no exchange is happening. And when there is no exchange, the other person is passive, right? There is not much love and trust there, and slowly it dwindles, it gets old, and it gets boring, and one moves on, right? This is easier, this is not. And this takes time. And the worst thing that happens is that When this happens, the trust is broken. One stops trusting other people, and we think the whole society is like that. A woman might think all men are like this. A man might think all women are like this, and that's not healthy, and that prohibits people from moving into other relationships, moving on with life. But that happens, and it's a common phenomena. So we should know that this is what happens, but this is not expected. Okay, now anatomy of a heartbreak. What really happens, right? So most of you in Philosophy Friday know this verse. Krishna saying that the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. So this. So what it means is when you get what you expect, at least more than 50%, you're happy. Okay, I expected it to be somewhere around this, and it has crossed a certain threshold, and you're happy. A mature person might be happy with more than 25%. Like, hey, I didn't expect much, but hey, it happened, I'm happy, right? A child might expect more than 90%. So it depends on who we are, how mature we are, how emotionally secure we are, and accordingly our happiness quotient varies. But the point is, as the Bhagavad Gita verse says, matra sparshas tupantiya, that as soon as the senses come in contact with the sense object, there is two outcomes, happiness or distress. Expected result or unexpected result. Expected result, to a certain degree, you're happy. Unexpected result, and you're unhappy. And that's what's happening. So in relationships also, expectations, when it's met, people are happy. When it's unmet, people get tired and they move on and they break trust, they cheat on each other, or they stop investing in the relationship. It becomes a monotonous day-to-day thing where it's like, hey, how is it going? Good. How are you? Good. How was your day? Good. How it's just like Gasapita, same thing over and over again. And that's what it leads to. And that's eventually that gets boring, and eventually either both or one of the couple members might start looking outside for other options and go in that direction. Now, heartbreak is a complex injury. Like I said, we get bruised, we get cuts every day. That happens. But heartbreak is a complex psychological injury where when it's not just a cut that heals over time. There are many, many aspects, layers that are there. So for example, somebody going through a breakup, it might mean not just the person leaving them, but their sense of validation that, oh, I'm not good enough. That's why this person left me. Oh, I might have not been attractive enough. I might have been whatever, right? It's like my fault. Like one of you who's here, who inspired me to give this webinar, and I know who you are. When you wrote to me, you mentioned many times, it was my fault, Prabhuji. I did this and I did that. Not necessarily. The reason why you did that might have some precursor to it. So blaming yourself, it's not necessarily the right thing, but that is only natural when we blame ourselves that, oh, I did the wrong thing and that's why this, or I'm not good enough. So the complex emotional aspect is there are various things that's going through a person's mind that that breakup is leading to, because a lot of things were hinged onto that relationship, right? One sense of purpose, one sense of existence. Like, when my grandfather died, my grandmother and my grandfather were together for 56 years. That's a long time. And when my grandfather passed away, my grandmother, who was a sharp individual, always on task at a very ripe age, slowly, she started deteriorating because her purpose of life, which was taking care of her husband, had gone away. As a result, she was kind of like lax, and slowly her body and mind were giving in. Right? I saw the quick decline that happened to her after her husband passed away. But before her husband, she had a purpose. I have to take care of him. I have to make sure he's fed at the right time, he's takes the medicine at the right time, etc., etc. So that happens. So a lot is hinged on that relationship. And when that relationship goes away, the person starts feeling that void, not only the person, but the purpose and all the things that was associated with that person. And that leads to a sense of cluelessness, confusion, depression, anxiety, what's going to happen, oh my God, etc., right? So it's a complex emotional injury. And when your heart is broken, you simply cannot trust your mind, what it's telling you. And in Bhagavad Gita, also Krishna says, I quote this verse all the time, that for one who has conquered the mind is best of friends. For one who has failed to do so, the mind remains the greatest enemy. And the greatest enemy is going to act against you when you are the weakest, right? That's what enemies do. When you are the most vulnerable, the most weakest, it comes and hits you hard, right? So when you're going through a heartbreak, there's a manipulative mind that's going to work against you and tell you everything that you should not do, right? In college, I would always see my friends going through breakups, and at that moment they would do the stupidest things, either go get intoxicated or drugs or break up sex or other kinds of addictions, all kinds of things. And that's basically, they're just trying to run away from the problem and trying to find something else to fulfill that void, right? And I'm going to show it to you how this exactly works psychologically. This is what's happening, right? Sometimes food is a kind of, we're not hungry, but we eat food because it helps us forget things. So there's a trigger, behavior, and reward, right? So understand this very carefully. There's a trigger, behavior, and reward. So you see food, you eat food, you feel good, you repeat. What's happening here, right? You're feeling sad. Food makes you feel good, or watching a movie makes you feel good. So eventually what the pattern that exists in your brain, that the neural connections that happen is, the brain says, next time you feel bad, let's just eat and you will feel better. So instead of hunger trigger, it is a sadness trigger. So when you're going through a difficult time, instead of actually fixing the root of the problem, the brain or the mind is working against you and trying to make you feel better with some form of addiction that might be unhealthy for you. So a lot of people get fat, a lot of people become really thin, or they become, addicted to substances and whatnot. This is what's happening, right? Trigger, behavior, reward. So instead of fixing the problem, you eat. Problem doesn't go away, and the cycle continues. And you try to get into other relationships and you're struggling with other things, and all you know is, okay, I know easy way to feel good. And there is this dopamine that your brain, the chemicals in the brain that just makes you feel good suddenly, and you just keep doing it. And it doesn't matter that it's hurting you, you just keep doing it. And that's why we are not able to give up binge watching on Netflix, or the recommendation engine from YouTube and Instagram Reels, because the artificial intelligence gets better and better at understanding us, what hits us and what gives us that dopamine dose. And as the dopamine dose goes up, so they did an experiment with rats. What they did was, they had this rat, so they had this rat connected with electrodes in its head, and the electrodes would hit it exactly where, so it would induce dopamine in the brain, the happiness chemical, right? So what would happen is, every time this rat would touch the switch, it'll get electric shock and it'll get a dopamine dose, and it'll feel good, and it would keep shocking itself, so it gets that dopamine dose. So it's this addiction. Now what they did was, they put this kind of electric fence, you can say, on which the rat has to walk over to get to that switch, to touch it and get that electric shock to get the dopamine effect. So rat would actually walk over electric shocks to get that dopamine dose and just get that in the brain. And the rat would not take care of its rat babies. It would not eat. It would not sleep. All it would do is just hit that button and get the dopamine dose, and it was addicted to that. And then they did the opposite of it. I think serotonin is the opposite chemical, and they injected that rat with the serotonin chemical, and it was like completely lethargic. It's like, I don't want to do anything, I'm depressed, I don't want to eat. But if it was given food in its mouth, it would chew on it and eat the food. But if the food is kept a little far away, it wouldn't get up and go eat the food, right? So this is how the mind works. So you have to understand, I'm talking about dopamine, serotonin, the chemicals that's happening on the brain level, which is the hardware. But the software is inducing the hardware. The mind is impacting the hardware, right? Just like you can have a Mac or you can have this phone or that phone, but the operating system actually defines how you use the hardware. You can have the best camera, but if you don't have the right operating system, which doesn't have the camera app, let's say, you won't be able to use the camera to your advantage. So similarly, the mind is a software that's governing it of what chemicals are induced, and accordingly, we are going through it mindlessly, right? We are induced by these chemicals, and we are addicted to things. And to get over depression, to get over a heartbreak, we go through this trigger behavior reward process. Okay. Now, the part of our brain that actually allows us to be awake and say no to hitting that button, like the rat was saying, hit, and getting the dopamine dose, we actually have this prefrontal cortex where it can say, hey, what you doing? You are addicted. Stop this. Get help. Call a friend. Call a psychiatrist. Google something. Get out of this addiction. Get out of this depression. You need help. That part of the brain that actually we have as humans and animals don't, shuts down under pressure, under stress. When we're overwhelmed with depression, and breakup does lead to depression, right? We stop thinking rationally. And that's where it is important to have friends who will tell us, hey, this is not good. You're going through this. This is not good. You need to get back on track. So there needs to be a gradual emotional detox, because what's happening is when we are going through this painful stage, we're actually holding on to hot coal, right? Who's getting burnt? It's us. The other person who might have broken up with us, or who might have gone into other relationship or cheated on us or whatever, they don't feel the pain that we are feeling. They might feel some pain of separation, but you are actually holding on to the hot coal and getting burnt and losing time, losing sleep, losing life, losing opportunities and everything else. Life is going away and you're not able to move on, right? So you're not able to impact other people. You're just impacting yourself. You're hurting yourself. So there needs to be a gradual detox of this situation. And when your worst enemy is inside you, your mind, your uncontrolled mind, you need somebody from outside to help you. You cannot help yourself. When Krishna is saying the mind is your worst enemy and that's inside you, you cannot really help yourself. Even the strongest person needs a strong friend or a mentor or somebody of trust who they can ask for help and who can walk them and talk them out of that situation. Any CEO, if you see in the US, have at least 2 or 3 psychologists that walk them through this difficult situation. Because if you're running a company and you're depressed, boy, oh boy, the company is going to go down, share prices will go down, it's going to cause havoc. So they have people who are guiding them through it. As Vaishnavas, as devotees, we have, mentors and friends who are there to support with devotee care. Some of us might not have it, some of us do, but at least you have me, right? I know many of you take that opportunity and call me when you need help, and we are there for each other. And I'm sure you also know each other and support each other as friends within the Philosophy Friday group. So the point is, that's a super important need, right? When somebody is down, difficulty, we need to extend our arm to them and help them out of that situation. And so that, when we are down, there is somebody who can pick us up also. There was one devotee, he's very close to me, and I'm the only friend he has. And he's not very good at making friendships. So he was hospitalized, and my mother and I went to see him. And he was telling me, Prabhu, no one came to see me in the hospital. No one even called me. I even had my birthday in the hospital and nobody wished me. People even called me for work, even devotees, but they didn't wish me. They didn't care to ask me how I'm doing in the hospital. And he's like, why is this happening? I said, Prabhu, tell me something. When is the last time you did that to somebody who was in the hospital? When is the last time you wished someone a happy birthday, who's not your immediate family? And it's like, yeah, you're right. I don't do that to people. I'm like, exactly. So when, the relationship is reciprocal. You invest in the relationship, people invest back in you. You give, you receive. There's give and take, love and trust. If you don't give, you don't receive. So you might be a wonderful person and you might be wonderfully accomplished, but if you're not investing in relationships when times are good, when times are bad, don't expect anything or anyone to take the effort to come to you and say, hey, let me help you out of it, because you're not invested in those relationships. Just like, we talk about entrepreneurship and we invest money and money grows, right? The stock markets or businesses or real estate, wherever. Similarly, and emotionally, we need to have emotional bank account where we invest in people. We give unconditionally, whether they need us or not, whether they will give us back to us or not. As devotees of Krishna, it is our duty. We are receiving so much from the disciplic succession to give it freely to others. And when we give, somehow or other, it comes back. Whether you call it the law of karma or whether it's Krishna's unconditional love or the devotee's unconditional love, it somehow comes back. But you have to be a social being. You cannot be in a silo, in a cave, and expect when you need help, people will reach out to you, right? So when things are good, make sure you're making friends. You are reaching out to your mentor. A lot of times people say, oh, Prabhuji, something happened to me, and you didn't even care to find out. Like, I didn't even know. Unless you tell me, how do I know? And those of you know me know that I'm horrible at wishing you on birthdays. I'm horrible at a lot of these things because I'm one person dealing with a lot of different aspects of my life. But I love, I am a loving person, and it's not always possible. So if you are seeing me as a mentor, reach out to me when you need help. Don't just stay back, and be in your cave and be like, oh, why is he not asking me how I'm doing? Maybe I don't know. Maybe you told me and I didn't recognize, or maybe something else I was thinking. So understand that people go through phases, and if you need help, you should reach out, especially to those who love you and would care for you if you just told them, right? So expectations should be set in a proper order, especially with those who care for you. So this is a very important aspect. I'm spending so much time on this slide, is you get the help only when you ask for it. And if you see, this is happening in the Bhagavad Gita. Thank God Arjuna asked for help. Chapter 2, beginning of it, Arjuna is asking, Krishna, my Gandhi was falling, my throat's parched. I don't know what to do. I am totally confused. Please become my master, become my teacher, and tell me what is best for me. And there onwards, Krishna starts speaking the Gita. If Arjuna didn't ask, Krishna wouldn't speak. The whole first chapter, Arjuna is speaking, Krishna is smiling. That's it. Krishna is smiling and he's just there. Okay, you're talking to a friend, I'm here. But the moment Arjuna surrenders and says, I need help, tell me what is best for me, Krishna starts speaking the Bhagavad Gita, and we are also grateful for it, right? So you need to ask when you need help. Now, there's something else you need to do when you're going through a breakup, if you're already broken up. Please don't try to just keep things alive and try pushing and hoping and praying that this will work out. If it has not worked out and the other person doesn't want to talk to you, respect their feelings and block them on social media or WhatsApp, everything. So you don't have to see what they're doing. If they're falling in love with somebody else or getting married or whatever else, you don't have to stalk them on social media. I find this so many times. People are like, oh, Prabhu, today I'm feeling horrible. This person just, it happened to me. I have gone through many breakups. I remember when this person I was engaged to, she sent me her invitation for marriage. I was in Scotland. I was giving a whole series of lectures in the Scotland ISKCON temple, and boom, it comes to me. And I'm like totally bummed out, and I'm functioning, I'm speaking, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but everybody can see my face looks like, it's gone. And the temple president of Scotland, he was like, Prabhu, I'm seeing a difference in you. Is everything okay? I'm like, Prabhu, everything is not okay. He's like, what happened? I'm like, there was this person I got engaged to, and this person's getting married, and I thought I had moved on, but somehow it's painful. It's hurting a lot. He's like, Prabhu, take the day off. Just take the day off, feel just breathe the air, chant Hare Krishna, and tomorrow onwards we'll catch up again. And he told everybody, don't talk to Ajita Prabhu today. And I did that. I went up and down the hill. I was a beautiful place in Scotland on a hilly top. And I was just chanting Hare Krishna and just releasing and crying. I was actually crying. I was talking to Krishna in my mind and calling my best friend and just letting it out, releasing it, the toxins. And then, next morning I got up. I was almost fit and fine, ready to go, ready to serve, ready to speak, ready to serve the devotees, right? So even though you think you've moved on, there might be some things that are in the heart. When you hear the news, the person's getting married and whatnot, it hurts. So it's important that you understand that it's important to close the door completely. So you have enough time to heal through. You don't have to see what they're doing. You don't have to stalk them. So you can move on, because the more you see them, the more the mind is playing it up, and all the bad things you'll forget. All the good things you'll remember. Oh, this was so perfect, and it will become rosier than it actually was, right? All the things that person, the negative things, you'll be like, no, that was okay. I should try to go back. And that's where it goes wrong. If it is meant to work, the other person will come to you. If it is not meant to work, don't try hard and hard and hard. What is that movie? Shahid Kapoor. I forget the name of the movie, but yeah, there was something, right? This person just goes on and on, destroying his life, trying to be Devdas, and finally he fights. Don't do that, right? It almost never works. I have many mentees. I have helped them out of their breakups. Kabir Singh, right? I've helped them out of their breakup, and this process, almost men trying to do this, they just cannot take rejection. And we do that a lot, and it doesn't work out. It actually makes things worse. In some cases, the woman files police case, or they'll block you on Facebook and report your page, and your Facebook profile will be taken off. Things like that happen. So just respect the person's demand of moving on. And now here is another trap of Maya. What's happening is you will try to forget the person. And that is also detrimental. Why? Because the harder you try to forget, the more you're thinking of that person, and the more the thoughts, the more attachment, and the more you're getting entangled, right? It's like that animal traps, right? Where you see that the animal, the more it's trying to run away, the more the noose gets stronger, and it binds the animal and traps it in. So similarly, the more you're trying to forget the person, you get entrapped. So the point is, the opposite of love is not hatred. The opposite of love is indifference. So the person you were in love with once, if you want to move on, don't harbor hate. Try to be indifferent. Try to not let it matter to you anymore. Try to be more ignoring of the fact. Let it flow away. Right? I think in the Bhagavad Gita, or one of the Vedic scriptures, it talks about the mind of a yogi. It's not that a yogi doesn't get desires for self-gratification. It's like the rivers that gush into the ocean. The rivers are gushing into ocean at great force. If you see the Amazon gushing into the ocean, it's something like some millions of cusecs of water gushing into the ocean. And you look at the ocean right out there, it's not even moving. It's not even moving. So much water gushing in every second. But the ocean doesn't even move. It's calm. Now, it's not possible at our stage. I understand that. But we are trying to be yogis, we are trying to be Krishna conscious. And as you chant Hare Krishna and you get better, you will see your ability to do this will be far more. Difficulties initially that impacted you so much when you were 16 years old won't impact you as much when you're 21 years old, won't impact you as much when you're 35 years old. So you get better, not with age. It's not a matter of age. It's a matter of as you're investing in Krishna consciousness, you're aging, you're also maturing emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And thereby you're learning to move on, like a non-stick pan, like lotus leaf. Most of us have not seen lotus leaf and how water reacts, but you've seen non-stick pan. It's hydrophobic, right? So things don't stick to it. So like that, we become detached. We can love people with our hearts, and the moment somebody says, sorry, I don't want you in my life, can you please move on? We say, okay, thank you very much, I am moving on. And when you need me, I'll be there for you unconditionally, right? Not easy to do, easy to say it. But as you move in the bhakti ladder, you will see this becomes easier as you go along. You become more and more non-stick. That doesn't mean you become less loving. That doesn't mean you become less of an emotional person. It just means you become less detached. Attached people, the attachment comes from, what happens in the opposite of a non-stick pan, normal pans, what happens? The surface tension actually holds on and sticks to things. So what is surface tension? There's hollowness, right? So when there's hollowness in the heart, we hold on to people, we cling on to people. You're my savior, you're going to protect me. Oh my God, thank God I found you. Now I'm going to not leave you, right? And we let everything, all the emotional expectations on this person. And the person feels overburdened. They want to move on. They're like, oh God, this is too much. I can't take this. And they move on. I'm sure those of you use Tinder or whatever else, the other dating platforms, and you go on dates, you will see people who have moved on from a relationship. They cannot stop talking about their ex. And they don't want anything to do with whatever their ex did. That's the hollowness, right? And they're just looking for escape. They're just looking for not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. But you ask them, what is it that you want? And the person will be like, good question to ask. I don't know. So within ISKCON, when a boy and a girl, the marriage is proposed, it is generally told by the mentor or the spiritual master that write down qualities, 4 or 5 qualities that you're looking for in your life partner, right? Don't expect them to be Krishna, that they have all the good qualities. It won't happen. Nobody's perfect. But 3 to 4 things, maybe 5 things, write it down. Without these, you cannot have a life partner, right? These are absolute crucial things. Okay. Now, there are many other things that you want. Now, what do you do with those? So you need to resource those out to friends, family, parents, mentors, spiritual master, etc., right? But do not have all your expectations going to one person, whether it's a wife or a husband, right? And they should fulfill all of them, because that becomes overwhelming for them, and they cannot fulfill all your expectations, but they might be good at fulfilling certain expectations. So that is also important. As you move on from a relationship, it's important to know that I want these things absolutely necessary, and the rest I'll figure out, right? Okay. There is a question, kind of thinking that it was mismatched. Yeah, or whatever it is. But at least the other person doesn't want, or you don't want, and it's mismatched. So either way, moving on. So stop calling, texting, WhatsApp, block them on social media, don't follow them, don't stalk them, and don't idealize this person in your mind that everything was perfect and it's all my fault and whatnot. These are the do nots. The to-dos: be kind to yourself and take time off. It takes time to heal. Just like the physical injury takes time to heal. If you break a bone, it's going to take you a month to 3 months to heal it. If you, get a cut, it might take a couple of days to heal. If you get a fever, it might take 3 days to 5 days to heal. So similarly, mental injuries take time to heal. You need to take time off. You need to surround yourself with people that love you, or at least movies that you love, music that you love. At least call up some friends that care for you, understand you. Cry. It is important you cry. People say, don't cry. No, cry as much as you want. Please let it out. Let out the toxins. There's a reason why God has allowed us this opportunity, these eyes to cry, tears. There's a reason, because the more you cry, the more you let it out. Let it out. Sometimes people like to go to some place and scream, and that's okay. Do that. If you need to dance, if you need to chant, if you need to shout, if you need to sing, do whatever it takes. You want to just laze around, do nothing, sleep all day, do it. You want to watch Netflix all day, do it. Be kind to yourself. At this point, don't try to be like overly Krishna conscious and like, oh, I'm a devotee, I can't do this or I can't do that. Of course, don't try to drink and get into alcoholism or addictions and things like that. I highly recommend, please don't do that, because then that's not healthy, and you won't get out of it very easily. But within the confines of modern life, whatever things you can do, music, movies, friends, crying, wailing, shouting, going for a drive, do it. Take a break, vacation, do it. Whatever you can afford, just let it out, because you need that time for the heart to just feel, to let it out, to breathe, to rest. It has been injured, so it needs to rest and heal, right? Some people take it maybe a week, some people take a month, some people take years. In the case of people who take years, is because they have not given themselves time to heal. They're just trying to run away from the problem, and the problem persists and it keeps coming back. It's like a scratch that's there. You keep, every time something hits it, it starts bleeding. Every time something hits, so it never heals. Whereas if you put a band-aid and not disturb it, it'll get healed and it won't bleed again, right? So similarly with mental injuries, you need to give it time and not disturb it, and let it heal. Even if it means 7 days off and you have a very busy schedule, you need to take that time off and just heal, right? So for me, physically and emotionally, this happens, and I have a regimen. Unfortunately, I don't do it enough, but I should do more. Like some of you, Philosophy Friday saw me, I was not well, and that was because it was exhaustion-induced sleep deprivation, and that was leading to fever, right? So what I did was, my body was like, okay, Avelo, you need to take rest. So and my mother helped also. She's like, you're not getting up, you're not looking at that phone, you're not watching anything, you're just going to sleep. And I slept for, 13 hours or so. And I woke up fresh, no fever, nothing, and I was able to function, right? Very important. Now, don't be like me, where your body has to kind of put fever into you. Have a regimen where you take a break and you just relax and chillax, right? Once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whenever you can, but just be like lying down and doing nothing. That's okay. It's okay to do that. It doesn't make you a bad person, especially when you're going through a breakup. Definitely do that, right? But also have, as you're going through this, talk to somebody you trust, who will not use it against you, somebody who have the best interest, inspires you, right? So that in that process, again, you're releasing the toxins, and the person who's listening to you unconditionally, that listening, you hearing yourself, will make you feel better. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Oh, it's not as detrimental as, it feels good, right? When I was in college and I was going through some difficult periods, I used to go to a counseling center, a college counseling center. And it was a very wonderful psychologist named Dr. Eunice Kim. And she would just listen to me and say, really? How did that make you feel? That's it. She would not tell me what to do. I knew exactly what to do, but I wouldn't otherwise. Only when she asked, how did that make you feel? That made me feel awful. That made me feel worthless. That made me feel whatever, right? With the feeling, giving a name to the feeling. And then she would say, so what are you going to do about it? And then I would think, what am I going to do about it? Oh, you know what? I have 4 options. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. And she would tell, so which one would you choose? How would you prioritize? She would only ask me questions, and I would find the answers to my problems. So later on, I'm not blaming her. Oh, you told me to do this, it didn't work. No, I'm finding the solution to my problem, because all inside me, all I need is somebody to remind me and ask me, just like Hanuman. Hanuman was a very powerful person, but he needed to be reminded that he had these powers. Only then he could use his powers. Though we are all like that in a certain way. We have to be reminded, we have to be asked. So find someone, a mentor, a friend, a grandmother, a grandfather, a parent, a sibling, whoever, who will be that person, right? And be there and say, hey, I'm there for you. I'm here for you, rooting for you. Don't worry, I got your back. And I'll tell you, and don't do this to me, but there has been many people who have called me when they're about to jump. Somebody, standing at the edge of their roof and they're about to jump and they're like, Prabhu, this is it. I cannot live with this kind of mindset. And they call me and I'm like, I'm not a psychologist. Of course, I don't tell them that. At that time, they just need to hear, I'm here for you. There are other options, and that's enough for them to kind of take the step back and come back. Thankfully, by Krishna's mercy, nobody has actually killed themselves who have called me at that stage. Again, I'm saying I'm not a person you should call. You should call somebody who is a licensed psychologist. But the point is, you need that caring person in your life who is there to tell you, I'm here for you unconditionally, no matter who you are, right? If you're smoking, I don't care. If you're killed 10 people, I don't care. I love you and I'm here for you, right? Of course, if you killed 10 people, law will take care of it. But I will not stop loving you because of that. I'm here unconditionally because of who you are. You're part and parcel of Krishna. And I'm part and parcel of Krishna. And that doesn't change regardless of your behavior. So that unconditional love is very, very important in our life. If we don't have it, seek it out, right? When things are good, seek it out because it will come in handy when you need it. Okay. Plan for the future, set goals, and get started, right? As you go through these steps, you will eventually start feeling less overburdened and more like, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready to get up. I think I can start walking in the next steps and next direction. So here is how you move on. First, recognize the negative emotions, cry it out, scream out, talk to somebody you trust, all of that. Reflect and embrace the reality. This person will not be in my life anymore. This is the reality and I have to live with it. And it will feel okay after a while. I will feel the void. I will feel pain. This is the reality. As you embrace that reality, you're able to cope with it. When you don't accept it, that's when you struggle, right? So you need to verbally say it. This is the reality of my life. This person has moved on. I cannot depend on this person for blah, 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 blah. And thus, I will have to, for now, be on my own and resource myself with me and people that love me, right? Reflect and embrace the reality. Rectify the mistakes from the past. Why did this happen? Of course, both sides have issues, right? That person did something, you did something. But you must have done something also. It's not always that, oh, there's nothing to learn from this breakup, or there's nothing to learn from this relationship, or whatever else, right? So what could I have learned from this situation that I should not repeat later on? And thereby making my next relationship a little bit better, right? So thereby you rectify your mistakes, and as you're feeling better, you reinstate back in action, moving forward, right? You feel empowered, you feel strengthened, and you feel, yes, I'm ready to move on. Just like Arjuna, starting from chapter 2 to chapter 18, where he's like ready to go, ready to fight. And he goes all out and he fights in the battle of Kurukshetra. Now, the anatomy of change for a lot of us. So the topic was moving from heartbreak, not just moving on, but moving to success and abundance, right? Life of success. So it starts with this: disgust, desire, the negative emotions, leading to resolve. I will not be this person. I will not be left down and dirty, in this situation where I'm depressed and good for nothing. I will build a future for myself. And you create a compelling vision. What does the next 6 months, what would make me happy? to achieve in the next 6 months, the next 1 year, in the next 10 years? What would make me feel useful, worthwhile, right? You create that compelling vision. Maybe it's getting that job. Maybe it's earning a bit more money. Maybe it's finding love. Maybe it's something else. What is that compelling vision? Now think, how will I accomplish it? Right? So act on that direction. What's the first step I can act? What's the one thing I can do? Maybe a Google search. Maybe I go on YouTube and watch a video on this topic and learn something. Take small steps in the right direction every day, little by little, and you'll move away and move towards, move away from that negative stuff, disgust, desire, and move towards that compelling vision that you've created. Feeling better, progress. What makes us happy? Progress. The dopamines, again, those chemicals start coming in when there's a sense of, I'm moving towards a goal. When you actually get that goal, there's a different chemical that acts. It's opiates that act. But the dopamine comes in when you're moving towards a target. Like, for example, you ordered pizza and there's an anticipation, pizza's coming, right? There's a feeling of happiness. I'm going to enjoy that pizza. So similarly, as you move towards a compelling vision, compelling goal, and you are making tangible, small milestones that you're moving towards, you're feeling good. I'm moving. This is happening. Like going to a vacation, right? You got on the flight or the train and finally got here. It's actually happening. I'm going to get there. I'm going to have a lot of fun. That anticipation gives you a lot of happiness, and it helps you move out of that negative situation of depression, of breakup or heartbreak that you were in, right? Now, when you're in this dopamine effect, when you're in this, in a happy state, this is the time to go all out and do all the wonderful things you want to do with your mind and brain, right? Because you're working at optimal performance. Let's talk a little bit about that. So we'll talk about mind control and meditation, but optimal performance is what is achieved through this process. So what it basically means is when you are happy, you tend to be more successful. If they say success brings you happiness, but actually happiness brings you success. If you're perpetually depressed, your brain won't function in a way to lead you to those opportunities that will make you happy. Because you're constantly, thinking bad of yourself. So you're not taking those steps. You're not taking those risks that will make you in a better position. You're just being like, mera se kuch nahi hoga. Nothing will happen with me. So why even do it? I'm just a loser. This and that. So we'll have all these mind will talk bad things to us and will not. But when we're happy, like I can conquer the world. I'm feeling happy. Oh my God. So that is the moment when you should take the steps. If you want to write a book or a new job or a new relationship or download that dating app or whatever it might be for you, right? This is the moment where you should capitalize because you're moving towards that goal. You're feeling good, dopamine coming in. Now you do all the good things you can to build that foundation so that you can reap the rewards. Now, again, remember Krishna's words. Happiness means distress is coming. Distress means happiness is coming. So know that distress is going to come shortly. You are going to be disappointed shortly. So do all the good things you can when you're happy so that when disappointment comes, you have something to bank on for those distressed times. Forgive me while my bell pays through. Okay. Now, meditation is the practice, mind control and meditation is the practice that allows you to strengthen your mind and make it your best friend so that it can work in your favor and take you to the destination you want to go to rather than what your influencers want you to go through, right? There are various influences on our lives, parents, siblings, society, government, TV, Arnab Goswami, all of these influences. So you want to make sure that you are going in the direction you want to go. And for that, you need a strong mind, strong intelligence. And that's what meditation gives you. Now, optimal performance means this, right? Meditation allows you to come to that state where you are alert to a point where there's a healthy dose of stress. You're not so stressed that you're disorganized and anxious and depressed. You're incapacitated, but you're just enough at the right optimal level where you feel happy and you can do things creatively, solve problems, and get things rolling in your life. Take opportunities, see opportunities rather than, what you have to see the opportunity to take it, right? So you see opportunities where it's what the possibilities are in your life, and you grab them and you move towards your goal day by day, little by little, towards your compelling vision, the compelling dream that you have for 6 months period, right? So how to be in this optimal position? Through the process of meditation. Now, the simplest method of meditation is this, right? You sit or stand, you inhale, you exhale. And this happened to me a few days ago. So I had, my spiritual master was supposed to come and speak at Philosophy Friday. I wrote to him, I didn't get his response, but he responded and he was going to speak. And the day off, he's like, okay, what time? Where's Zoom link? And I was freaking out. And I called up my mentor and he's like, he did exactly that. He told me, Ajita, breathe. I'm like, I need to solve this right now. He's like, breathe. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. I'm like, really? Now? He's like, yes, now. And did that. Breathed. Hold. Breathe out. Again, breathe. 5 seconds. Hold. Breathe out. Right? He made me do this multiple times. And honestly, the stress went down and exactly this happened. It's optimal. I was in the anxiety mode, panic attack, that zone. And it came back to that healthy dose of stress where I'm like, okay, there's a problem. I recognize it. Let me figure out how to fix it. Okay. And he asked me, okay, how do you think you should fix it? I'm like, I think these are my options. Like, okay, which one will you prioritize? Like, I think this one, I'll go with it. Like, okay, you knew the answer all along. Like, yes, and that's why you're my mentor. Hang up, fixed it. So that's the beauty of it. It's all here, but you need that phone call with somebody, 5 minutes, you breathe in, breathe out, just call somebody and boom, you're done. That's my life. And I deal with a very stressful life, and that's, I do this perpetually. And it helps me decide with a clear vision rather than a blurry vision where I make stupid mistakes, which I used to. When I was in my early 20s, I would do stupid things. And out of ego, my vision would be filled with ego and pride. And like, how could you say this to me? I'm going to show you who's the boss and all of that nonsense, right? And then I would regret, oh, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, that was a very important person. Now I lost that. I burned that bridge. Right now, people will think of me like all of that drama that I had to deal with. So as I emotionally matured and spiritually matured, I learned to breathe in, breathe out, chant Hare Krishna, and make decisions with clear mind, and not write a text, send an email, make a phone call, get into a debate or argument when I am stressed out, when I'm in anxiety mode. Rather, doing all of those things when I'm in optimal performance. Right? You saw the top of the curve, optimal performance. So just enough stress where I can actively think my brain is working perfectly and I'm able to say the right things and do the right things. All right. So far, everything okay? Anything that I've said gone out of whack? You're not understanding? Okay, good. Happy. Now, moving on. Mantra. Now, all of your Philosophy Fridays, you all know this, but mantra means that which relieves the mind. Manaha trayate iti mantra. That which relieves the mind. So mantra has that power to relieve the mind of these things. So not only the things I already mentioned that a psychologist would also tell you, the biology and the psychology of it, now we're coming to the spiritual idea of releasing the mind. So there are certain mantras that relieve the mind. And the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra of all mantras called the Maha Mantra because it has all the powers of all the mantras in it. There's a Gayatri mantra and that mantra and this mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra has all the powers. So we chant that mantra and it relieves the mind. And you will see you'll have more control over your mind. You will be able to do more. It will act as your friend more and more as you chant more and more and as you focus more and more on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So understand this and make it a part of your life. It's not just the behavioral, the psychological, or the biological aspect. It is also the spiritual aspect. This is where the real cure happens. Chanting has solved so many people. I know many of you here who have wrote to me so many times, who have gone through breakups, who have gone through difficult times, and you've written to me saying, wow, I chanted for 7 days and Krishna just put things in place. I can think clearly again. I feel so much more confident. I'm out of that dark zone. It's amazing. People charge thousands of dollars to get people out of rehabilitation centers and whatnot, to get them out of addictions and depression and whatnot. We can just chant Hare Krishna and it does it. And honestly speaking, in my life, my short life of Krishna consciousness of 15 years, I have seen so many devotees go through this process, chanting Hare Krishna, focusing the mind, getting unconditional love from devotees, and being able to move on from the hurt, the painful aspects of life. All right. And then once you get out of it, you can actually help others, like I am doing now. You can also do that. You should do that, right? As you become healed from your pain, now you know what it felt like. And now there are so many others who are looking for it. So you can also help them the same way I am doing in your life. That's how the disciplic succession continues. And we continue to use, Krishna's holy name to soothe people's hearts. It's not to convert anyone. It's not to with the agenda, hey, my daddy is better, come to my religion. Nothing like that. It's just, hey, we are all suffering. I know a medicine. Let me give it to you. It's worked for me. It'll work for you too, right? And then comes to fill the hollowness of the heart. If this was a non-devotee audience, I would have probably gone more into it, but you all know about this. We are not this body. We are spirit soul. And next to our soul, there is somebody else, Krishna, Paramatma, right? And when that hollowness in the heart is Krishna shaped. So when Krishna is not there in the heart, no matter how much we have of whatever we have, money, love, prestige, etc., there's always going to be that sense of like something is missing. When Krishna is in that heart, you're like, no matter what is happening, turbulence, war, doesn't matter. I am fully confident. I'm fully capable. I'm there, right? Because Krishna is there in the heart. So that's the it's explained like fish in water, fish out of water. Fish in the water can be happily going through any difficulties. It can fix it. Fish out of water, it is completely powerless, right? No matter what you give the fish, ice cream, nice car, nice female fish or male fish or whatever, right? Fish won't be happy unless it's in water. So for us, it's important that we connect back in our relations with Krishna. Krishna is like light. Turn on the Krishna light, Maya, the darkness goes away. You don't have to drive Maya out. You don't have to drive your ex out. You bring in Krishna, your breakup leaves you. Your heartbreak leaves you, right? All the negative, toxic things leave you. You don't have to push them out. You don't have to actively, work to push them out. You invite Krishna, all the other things, negative things, they leave you. And you also feel fulfilled. It's not just that leaves you. Something positive comes in your life. Something you've never experienced, the joy of devotion that you might have never experienced, that comes in your life, and you feel uplifted and you are able to be empowered with that joy, with that optimal performance, and you're able to perform and do your duties as a husband, wife, mother, father, brother, son, whatever you are, whatever roles you play in your life, you will be able to do all of those things optimally because you're in optimal consciousness thanks to Krishna consciousness. Right? Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 27 and 28. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. In this way, you will be freed from bondage of work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. What does that mean? Basically, whatever you do it as an offering unto me. Like Arjun. He said, fight for me, Arjun. You don't have to fight for winning the kingdom or revenge for Draupadi. Fight for me. Because it's the right thing to do. You're on the side of Dharma. Fight for me. So for us, we are earning for Krishna. We are teaching for Krishna. We are preaching for Krishna. We are, whatever we are doing, we're investing in people's lives for Krishna. So all of that, do it as an offering to Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. And he's saying, by doing this, you'll be freed from the bondage of work. What is the bondage? The bondage is, I do this, I get that. If I don't get this, I'm unhappy. If I get this, I am happy, right? That sinusoidal wave you saw. So that is the bondage. We're constantly like that rat hitting that button and trying to get that dopamine effect. That's the bondage. The rat forgot its children. The rat forgot to eat. The rat forgot to sleep. It was just hitting that button and trying to get the dopamine effect. That's the bondage. I know it's not good for me, but I still keep doing it, right? Whatever addictions it might be, whether it's TV, whether it's social media, whether it's pornography, whether it's sex, whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. That's the bondage. It keeps us going. Or whether it's a promotion, so keep working, workaholic, people say. That's also addiction, right? So constantly keeps us going, and we are in it, and we eventually shrivel, and we have diseases, mentally, physically, all different things. We're attacked from all angles, right? That's karma bandhana. That's the bondage of work. That's what binds us. I want that. If I don't get that, I'll be unhappy. If I get that, I'll be happy. What does a freedom look like? What does a liberated person look like? I've done my 100%. I really hope it works out. But if it doesn't work out, fine. Krishna has a different plan. Non-stick pan, right? We move on. We don't stick because we are fully satisfied from within. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, even better. Moving on. One thing to another, one thing to another. Working, doing my 100%. That doesn't mean we lax out. Doesn't mean we become lazy. We give 100%. Right? If you're a CEO, you need to be the best CEO you can be. Not like I'm a devotee, so I'll be chanting 2 hours, right? So I can only work 6 hours a day. No, you should be working whatever is required for your company. But you will see, because of your chanting, you will be more optimized. So you'll not have to work as hard as anybody else because you are optimized in how your mind thinks, how your intelligence works, because you're spiritually empowered, right? Krishna is empowering you. And you'll have more time for preaching, charity, serving Vaishnavas, humanity, etc. All right, a lot of questions here. Let's see. Shankanath Bandyopadhyay. Thanks for the session. Good guidance. Request to do a session to unfold Gita, to unfold philosophy of life. We do that every Friday. You are most welcome to join 7:30 p.m. every Friday on Zoom. Wonderful session, Prabhuji. What is the difference of outcome between doing normal meditation and chanting mantra, Prabhuji? So normal meditation is where, there are various kinds of meditation where you're trying to focus the mind. Mantra meditation is according to our Vedic scriptures, various Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam, Padma Purana, Kali Santarana Upanishad. For Kali Yuga, it is mentioned that chanting mantra is the most powerful. What's happening is, as you're chanting this mantra, which is a spiritual sound vibration, you're hearing it through the ears, right? And thereby you're able to focus on the sound. And sound has tremendous power, right? There was an experiment that was done where it showed how ice crystals form based on the words that are spoken. When negative words were spoken, the ice crystals were deformed. You can actually go on YouTube and search it. And when positive words were spoken, like peace, happiness, joy, generosity, gratitude, the ice crystals were beautiful. They were, what do they call this? What's the word for it? It's not coming to me, sorry. But they were looking, pretty, whereas the where both sides of the thing are equal. What do you call that? God, I'm forgetting English. Equilibrium? No. Symmetry. Thank you. Symmetry. So it was symmetric designs of the ice crystals when it was positive words that were spoken. And when there were negative words spoken, and the microscopic level I'm talking about, right? The ice crystals were dissymmetric, right? It was ugly. And that's just normal sound, material sound. What is because spiritual sound? So there were experiments done at University of Florida by a devotee who was doing a thesis on this. His PhD was on this, I think. So he had 3 rooms with 3 plants, so plants of soul, as we know. And in one room, they had hip hop music playing for the plant as it's growing. In one room, they had Western classical music playing for the plant. And the third room, they had a plant with Hare Krishna Mahamantra playing. The plant with hip hop music actually grew in, like this. The plant that had the Western classical music playing was growing symmetrically, was very lush, very beautiful. And the plant which had Hare Krishna Mahamantra playing was growing in leaps and bounds, taller than the others, more lush, more beautiful, and very, very, So it was, again, a proof that sound has an impact on our consciousness, mental, physical, both. So chanting mantra and mantra meditation is considered, according to our scriptures, as the most powerful way of meditation, which has the most impact on our consciousness. Can you please guide and explain significance of chanting Ramhe Ho Ranje Kyo Japanese? Is it useful? Well, it's a Buddhist chant, I understand. And sure, if you're a Buddhist, that's what you chant. Maybe it's impactful. I don't know much about it. I've not chanted that mantra, but I've chanted Hare Krishna mantra. And I know for a fact it's very, very, very impactful. And thousands of people that I have mentored have gone through it and they've found it useful. So I can only speak for the mantra that I know, not a mantra that I don't know. Khushbu. Nice to see you, Khushbu, here. Hare Krishna Prabhu, this session has come exactly at the right time for me. Krishna's plan. Thank you so much. Fortunate to have your association. We'll definitely attend your Friday Zoom session. Looking forward to seeing you, Khushbu. All right, so I'll just finish off my last couple of slides. So here, Kapil Muni and Devahuti, they're speaking. Actually, this is Kapil Muni is incarnation of the Lord, and Devahuti is his mother. He's saying every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement for the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotee, opens the door of liberation. So we are humans, and it is only natural for us to find attachment and cling on, right? When we attach, like that rat was hitting that switch and getting that dopamine effect, that was not helping the rat in any way. It was actually hurting it. It was not able to do anything else but that dopamine. It was karma bandhana. It was bondage. Whereas when you take the same attachment and repose it to Krishna or Guru, somebody you trust, right? Spiritual relationship, that nourishes us. It doesn't addict us, because Krishna doesn't say, hey, my way or the highway, you have to be with me all the time. He's just saying, hey, whatever you do it as an offering to me. You enjoy your life. You have your family. You have your kids. You have your parents. Do all the duties you want to do. Do it as an offering unto me. Just remember me, as an attitude of gratitude. That's all. When you do that, that's it. Life changes completely. It's no more bondage. It's freedom. It's liberation. That's what, thank you, Khushbu, for showing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's what liberation looks like. So build Krishna-centric relationships, right? So one way of relating to each other is that person has a great body, so I like that person. That person has a great smile, so I like that person. That person has a lot of money, so I like that person. That person can play the guitar very well, so I like that person. Another way of looking at it, I love that person because this person is a part and parcel of Krishna, right? And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna beautifully explains that. And also in this picture, you can see not just humans, but also animals, plants. God is in everyone as Paramatma. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. Riddesha Arjuna Tishtati. In everyone's heart. Or you might say bacteria, virus, where do they have a heart? In the heart region, in their consciousness. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision. What's the equality? That everybody is a part and parcel of God, and God Firstly, Krishna is in every living entity. Chapter 5, text 18, Krishna says, right? A humble sage by virtue of true knowledge, right? True knowledge, a humble person, a humble sage, Pandita Samadarshinaha, with equal vision. How are you saying with equal vision? This person who is drug addicted, suffering from whatever, is also part and parcel of Krishna. The CEO who's well established is also part and parcel of Krishna. So we see equal vision, non-judgmentally, right? Now it's easy to say, hard to do, but that's what we are getting at. So when we are in a relationship, if you can do that, yes, everybody has faults. I have faults, so does the other person. Can I be more accepting? Can I appreciate the person from the fact that we are both have the same root? We can serve each other and thereby please Krishna. That's called a Krishna-centric relationship. Again, this requires a lot of training and understanding. So I invite you to Philosophy Friday so we can learn the Bhagavad Gita and apply this in our lives. I'll just end with this last shloka. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's talking about friendships, because we talked a lot about couples, but even friendships are very, very important to us. So here it says, Parasparanu Kathanam Pavanam Bhagavad Yashaha Mithoratir Mithastustir Nivritir Mitha Atmanaha. Then one should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. So when you become friends and you're all equally disposed towards learning spirituality, when you come together, like, oh, I have this realization, and you glorify God, you glorify the process of spirituality, and you share your realizations, the happiness that you're experiencing. This process is most purifying. A devotee thus develops loving friendship for each other. Spiritual bonds are being created because your conversation is not what Hrithik Roshan did or what Modi did or what Biden did. It's not political. It's not this and that. It's spiritual. So the bonds you form in a spiritual friendship is almost unbreakable, right? And there is mithoratir mithatushtir, mutual happiness, mutual satisfaction, right? Mithoratir mithatushtir, nivritir mithatmanaha, which means one encourages each other to give up material sense gratification, which is the cause of all suffering, right? Nivritir, you say, hey, I'm going to give up smoking from today. And you're like, you'll give up smoking? Fine. I'll also give up smoking from today. Great. We'll help each other. So I used to be, before Krishna consciousness, I'm Bengali. So I was a meat eater, fish eater, egg eater, and all that. So when I decided to be a vegetarian, my best friend at the time, Edward, he's still my best friend. Sorry, not at the time. We are still best friends. So we both decided to help each other get over our, meat eating habits and become vegetarian. So he would help me. I would go to a restaurant, order something like, it's just one time, and he'll just take it away from my plate, right? And he would eat it. And eventually I became a vegetarian, and then I helped him become a vegetarian. So it's kind of like friendships are very important to get out of addictions, get out of habits, get out of, there's just a vegetarian, non-vegetarian thing, but even with addictions, even with breakups and things like that, friends are very, very important. So build those spiritual friendships with each other in the Philosophy Friday group, and you'll see, you will blossom and you'll grow much more in your spiritual journey. So it's every Friday, like I said, at 7:30 p.m. If you are interested, you can WhatsApp this number or go to my website and just put in a request, and we'll add you to the WhatsApp group, and you can join every Friday for the rest of your life. As long as I'm alive, I hope to do this on Zoom for free. You can come. And in the meantime, for those, if you're not already connected with me on social media, connect with me. If you have private questions, ask me on Instagram, ask me on WhatsApp. This is not my WhatsApp number, by the way. This is the WhatsApp number of Sarvanu. On YouTube, if you have any public question, do watch the videos, comment on them. I respond to every single comment, unless they're hateful comments, which I don't respond to. But if there are positive comments or questions, I will respond. So there are 250 plus videos on spirituality, entrepreneurship, and other things. Watch them. And if you have questions, reach out to me. Is there any question? Great session. Thank you very much. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I'm happy. You benefited from it. Thank you, Mataji. I have a question, Prabhuji. My friend is having issue with her relationship and she needs help from me. Okay. How could I help her? Listen to her. Be an unconditional listener, right? Let her tell you the difficulties she's going through. Let her open up. Let her release the toxins, and you be the listener, non-judgmentally. You don't have to give opinions. You don't have to tell her what to do unless she asks you. But just listen to her unconditionally and ask her questions. Just like I said, tell her to breathe. Things that you learned, right? Tell her what is paining you. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're not getting? How do you think you can get out of the situation? Is there a way out? What are your options? How do you prioritize? Ask questions, guide her to her answer. Don't tell her the answer. Guide her to her answer, and she already knows what she wants. Just as a friend, walk with her, hold her hand, hear her out, and let her, slowly heal herself. Amazing session, all Gurus. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for including all the dimensions of relationships. Thank you, Puja Mataji. All right. Are there any questions? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening. Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a good night.